Hey everybody, it's Willa Ball with Step 1 HR Consulting. And today in this training, we're going to be talking about how to use the SMART goal setting model, not only to set employee performance goals, but also using this model to help facilitate the actual performance evaluation discussion. Okay, so in 1981, George Duran established the SMART goals model. And there are a few things I love about this. As you can tell, it's almost 30 years old. And so it's one of those things that was established forever ago that is still just effective today as it was then. The other thing I love about it is simple. It's very, very simple. The third thing I like about it is that it can be used in professional life. That's where I normally use this model, but it can also be used in your personal life. Any goal setting that you want to establish, the SMART model, in my opinion, is the way to go. So today in the training, I'm going to walk you through the goal setting model, each of the steps in the process. I'm also going to provide you a sample on a job. An actual position is a social media manager. And so I'll be giving you examples as we go through each step of how to actually create these steps in the goal. In addition to that, I will walk you through how to actually facilitate the performance evaluation discussion using the same information. If you're setting goals, performance goals for your people, and yet in the evaluation discussion where you tell them how they do on those goals, if those two things aren't married up, it's going to be confusing and you're going to lose credibility in the process. And so that's why I think it's important that whatever model that you use to establish your performance goals, you use the same model to actually get you through the performance review conversation. Okay, so SMART goals. The S in SMART goals stands for specific. You want to be sure that you tell your employees exactly what you want them to accomplish. So a social media manager sample of a specific statement would be increased number of followers on all social media channels, period. That's the actual specific statement and what you expect for them to do. The second step in the SMART goals model is what we call measurable. Okay, it's critically important that if you're going to set a performance goal, that not only yourself, but your employee understands how you're going to measure their success or failure. It's critically important. Okay, so for a social media manager, here's a sample. Increase followers to 10,000 on Instagram and increase to 5,000 on Facebook. Okay, so that is a very measurable statement, okay? No questions asked, you either meet it or you don't, okay? Unattainable, which is the third step in the SMART goals model. When you talk about attainable, what's so important is that it's a delicate balance, because it's important that you don't push the employee too far that they feel like it's unreachable. And so when you set the goal, they're already deflated. But you do want to set an attainable goal that is challenging and will stretch that employee, okay? So there's a balance between both of those, and I understand that. But it's important that you hit the balance, okay? And so a sample for social media manager attainable is currently, for this particular company, there are 90,000 Instagram followers and there are 40,000 Facebook followers. Okay, so by asking the employee to build in their specific goals, you ask them to increase Instagram by 10,000 and Facebook by 5,000. Certainly, with that many that platform of existing followers, a 10% increase seems pretty reasonable. Okay, if you went and said, "I expect you to increase it by 25%," that might not be as attainable. Okay, so stretch them, but not too far. All right. The fourth step in the SMART goals model is what we call relevance. Okay, it's so important. This is the why. Everything that your employees do, I haven't met very many in my entire career that do not want to understand why. You just asked me to do something. You're telling me it's tied to my performance evaluation, which probably means it's tied to my pay, right? I want to understand why I'm doing it. And so for a social media manager, a relevant statement in the goal setting process is this goal supports the company's overall goal of driving more e-commerce sales. Okay, So if you have a company or departmental objective of driving up e-commerce sales, certainly what you've asked them to do for driving up followers on social media makes perfect sense. Okay, it explains why I'm asking you in your position to do this. The last step in the SMART goals process is time bound. This is also so important. No matter if your performance management cycle is monthly, quarterly, annually, okay? If those are the time frames in which you deliver an evaluation to your employees, it does not matter. It's just critically important that you make sure when you set the goal that they know what time you expect it to be done. In most cases, you set a goal and then you evaluate on that goal the next year. Most companies do an annual evaluation, okay? But if it isn't annual, you need to make sure that you make it clear on what the expectation is on when this goal should be accomplished. Now, the next question is, how many goals, Willa, should we have? I think 3 to 5 goals per position is probably attainable, achievable. It also depends on the time frame in which you do your evaluation. So if you're doing an annual evaluation, certainly 3 to 5 goals is appropriate. So when you sit down to have the performance evaluation conversation with your employee, again, my advice to you is use this model on every goal. If you have 3 to 5 goals, then you should go through each one of them in each step. I'm going to use John as an example. All right, so John's your social media manager. You sit John down and you start with the first goal, right? John, you know, at the beginning of the year, we set your goal to increase number of followers on all of your our social media channels, okay? And, you know, as something we use to measure that, we ask you to increase our Instagram followers by 10,000 and to increase our Facebook followers by 5,000. And you know, I'm so proud of your efforts on this because you were actually able to increase our Instagram followers to 11,000 and our Facebook followers to 8,000. And so I couldn't be more happy with that accomplishment. You know, I know that this stretched you a bit and I know you worked so hard through the year, but hopefully, certainly you gained some perspective and some learnings and growth from this particular goal. You know, the reason that I'm so happy about this is your efforts in this particular goal has absolutely helped drive our e-commerce sales, and that was really why this goal was so relevant and important to the company. And so I just appreciated you were able to reach it in the time frame we talked about. And so for this particular goal, I couldn't be more proud of you. Okay, so that is a sample between John and his employee of this one goal. That's how the performance management's discussion should flow. For each goal, go through it. Tell them where they won, tell them where they lost, tell them where they were successful, tell them where they failed, okay? But also in that conversation, you want to make sure that you give your employees the opportunity to explain, certainly in those areas where they had some failures, but also give them an opportunity to explain what they learned through the process. That's really important too. So SMART goals, one of the things you're going to find on this on our website at step1hr.com are some templates that you can use for establishing SMART goals and getting through those discussions with your employees. Okay, so go visit us there. I would love to help you establish these. If you have questions, if you want to sit down and go through some samples or do some mock discussions around kind of some role playing for employee performance reviews, give us a call. Our contact number is 479-657-0430. You can email me directly at willa@step1hr.com. It's been a pleasure today. Hopefully you learned so much about how to use the SMART goals model and how it could improve your dynamics in your performance management process. And so thank you so much. Until next time, thanks.